Hi everyone, Pastor Carlos here with you. I promised that I will go on at 1 o'clock. I'm just getting started. I know I'm a few minutes early. Excuse me. But I wanted to talk about something that we all face, which is toxic relationships, leadership, and even in friendships, people can be toxic. So as I go on to talk about this today, I want to make a disclaimer. Number one, I am not accusing anyone of what I am talking about. I am simply sharing this as an educational purpose because in this day and age, from what I've witnessed myself, there's a lot of people rising up to claim to be pastors and leaders from other countries to deceive us or people into giving into something that does not exist. So in order for us to recognize what is toxic in leadership, this could be applied to work, this could be applied to your own leadership within the church. It happens, people are people, and I do believe that God is the God of restoration, so it is not like, it is not something that is fixable. But we also have to be able to take care of ourselves in the sense that if we're going to talk about toxic leadership, we also need the answer on how to fix it, okay? So, excuse me, I apologize for my throat. 10 toxic leadership characteristics. Toxic leadership often causes everyone dissatisfaction, low productivity, interdepartmental conflict, stagnant innovation, and high turnover rate in leadership, employees, etc. Big churches have a staff, so there could be a lot of turnover in a church as well. Unfortunately, in many organizations, toxic leaders are painful but undeniable reality. With their destructive behavior patterns and dysfunctional interactions, they create disillusioned and demotivated workforce or environment or atmosphere. So how do you spot a toxic leader? Here are some of their common characteristics. Number one, arrogant. Toxic leaders are very boastful and arrogant. They think that they are always right and expect others to accept their words as gospel truth. Well, we have leaders in the church. The gospel of God is the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is the only gospel that we should always turn to. So if it doesn't line up with the word of God and that person is arrogant, they're obviously going to use it to manipulate whatever situation. They extend no help to others, and they hate it when someone else dares to correct them, especially if that someone is a subordinate. Two, they're autocratic. A toxic boss does not want any opinion other than their own to be heard. They expect others to quietly follow their every direction without even questioning the direction. A toxic person often fancies themselves as the top dog or self-styled king. And their behavior is often reflective of that. Employees, or in this case, congregation or other leaders, are minions, lesser beings who exist only to be the leader's binding. Number three, irritable. They're constantly irritable. Perhaps not surprisingly, toxic leaders also come across as highly irritable. They want to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered for anything since they are not open to other ideas from anyone else. They despise being asked questions and avoid it as much as possible. Under a toxic leadership, the organization becomes stunned because of the lack of innovative and free-flowing ideas. It takes synergy, it takes people to come together, to work together so that it flows. That's why each of us have different gifts, and with the gifts that we are given, we come together as one to accomplish the same task. In this case, is the saving of many souls. So maladjusted. Beneath the tough, this is number 4, tough and arrogant veneer of toxic leader is an ill-tempered child who is mortified of change. They are highly inflexible and take change very hard. The toxic boss is likely to be the most venomous opponent of any change in any organization. Lack of confidence. They act supremely confident. A toxic leader has no confidence in themselves. Consequently, they also find it extremely difficult to trust team members because of this lack of confidence. Tough problems are often ignored or swept under the carpet, and then everyone else is left to deal with that situation. Incompetent. A toxic leader may think that they are the best, but are incompetent, and many often struggle to make even the most common sensual decisions or do the simplest of tasks. Their sense of importance and usefulness only comes from criticizing others and making them out to be less than they are. 7. Hierarchy. They like to have hierarchy. Without the rigid structure of hierarchy, toxic leaders will wither and die. If you're under a toxic leader, you will often feel the pressure of a corporate power structure above you. A toxic leader is adept to controlling team members using hierarchy and seniority, which is wrong. Number 8, unrealistic expectations. Toxic leaders are notorious for getting objectives that are unfair, unrealistic. Team members struggle with achieving them because they are unachievable goals and get demoralized. Workloads piles up and the company becomes set up to fail. Or the organization, nonprofit, a church, anywhere where there's leadership that needs to be guided, or that needs leadership to guide everyone else. Symbols of personal authority. These symbols include right to common parking spaces, complete access to everything, and perhaps even studying the entire workplace with their own portrait and stories of accomplishments. And 10, discriminatory. Not surprisingly, toxic leaders are often discriminatory. Their bases and prejudices often appear in sexism, racism, ageism, and other discriminatory behavior. If you recognize any of these in yourself, could you possibly be a toxic leader who leads a group of dissatisfied, demotivated employees? If so, take the necessary steps for sincere change to improve yourself as a leader and as a person. The best way to overcome this, if you recognize any of these strategics or characteristics in you, is to have a meeting with your leadership, the people that are directly under you, and ask them to evaluate you. It's going to hurt. It's probably going to hurt your feelings. You're going to have to swallow the hard pill and realize that they are doing this as being honest with you to help you become a better person. Remember, they want to succeed just as much as you do. So when they evaluate you, take that evaluation, and then you also evaluate them on the presence of team effort, not individual. Do it so that everyone can flow in synergy, give ideas to improve these situations. I often get people to say, we have this situation, and I say, well, did you come with a solution? Because that's why you are there. A lot of people are paid to make decisions, and so therefore, do not be afraid. If you have a boss or a leader who is going to back you up, they are going to back you up because they want you to be successful. They will never reprimand you in public. They will reprimand you in private. They will motivate you. They will give you the opportunity to improve. As I said, I'm not accusing anyone of this, but we have to recognize when toxic creeps in through the door of any organization, including the church. God bless you. I hope that this has helped you a little bit. We will talk about it more in the near future. Take care.